What's up, everybody? This is Steve Sterlacci, and today we are talking about if it's time to go all in on the new IK Multimedia ToneX platform. For those of you that don't know what ToneX is, essentially IK Multimedia, who makes the Axe.io, they make tons of great modeling software like Amplitube, and they have tons of plugins and stuff. They also have the iLoud studio monitors, really great budget-friendly options for a home studio or even for professional use. I really like their stuff. And they came out with this ToneX platform that is essentially amp capturing or amp profiling, whatever terminology you want to use. It uses AI to capture your amplifier sound. So a lot of people compare this to the Kemper, where you can take your amp sounds, put it in the Kemper, and it digitally recreates what your amp sounds like and feels like. The thing that sets the ToneX apart from that is that this is primarily built in as a software plugin. So if you spend a lot of time miking up an amplifier, miking up a signal chain, running your cables, doing all that, you can actually take a printout of that sound and you can use it forever instead of having to redo all of that stuff the next time you're ready to use it. So you can save it right there in your DAW. Now, what makes this even more special is you could just plug in your existing pedal board right into your interface and you're off and running. Or you could just plug in your guitar right into your interface. You're also off and running. Then you can use your regular plugins, whatever your normal workflow is. But what I wanted to really focus on today, since there's tons of basics about the ToneX that are out there, so I don't really want to waste time rehashing stuff that's all over the internet right now. And what I really want to talk about today is this kind of new leak that happened recently where we have learned that the ToneX platform is going to be brought to a pedal board friendly size pedal. Looks to be about the size of an HX Stomp. And what this is going to mean for modeling and profiling users. So there are camps all over the place where people want to go direct. Going direct is kind of the future, and it's bound to happen. More and more silent stages are becoming normal, and it's just becoming part of the regular gig where you're silent on stage or you have very limited capabilities when it comes to your speaker situation. And I think this really fits an enormous void in the guitar market right now. And when this pedal comes out, it's going to be a product for those that don't want to take that jump into modeling or are very confused about which direction to go for modeling. Because like I said, each modeler has their own quirks and their own problems. None of them are perfect. People will complain that, for example, the Line 6 Helix needs better amp sounds. They say that the amps sound fizzy and harsh. Then there's the Quad Cortex crew that we can't buy premium presets because you can't import and export them in a normal fashion. And there's a bunch of problems with the user interface when you're using the unit, which is another conversation. There's a lot of things that are pain in the butt using the Quad Cortex. And then there's the Kemper, where it hasn't been changed in over 10 years. And your only options for Kemper are the big toaster, which at the end of the day is about the size of this amp head that I'm talking about. And then there's the Kemper Stage, which again is an all-in-one floor unit that's going to take you in a direction where you have to use that exclusively and all the effects in it. There's no small Kemper profiler, which I don't know how they haven't released that yet. And then with the Fractal community, there's the Fractal stuff, which sounds amazing. It's probably the best sounding out of all of these things, but it's got such a steep learning curve that it deters a lot of people. And still people will say that it still sounds digital sometimes and that they want to stick with their analog sound. I personally am not one of those people. I do love the sounds in the Fractal. It just takes a really long time to get the hang of using one. And now if you're somebody who wants to avoid all those problems and you're used to your pedal board, you love your pedals, you have your setup dialed in, you just don't want to be carrying your amp anymore, you're not allowed to take your amp anymore, this is going to be something for you where you could just literally take your existing pedal board, plug it in, and you're going to have great results. And this is also better than something like the Strymon Iridium or the UA amp models, because those are going to be more than those little boxes that only do, the Iridium does 3 amps, the UA stuff does individual amps, and those are about the same price as this leaked ToneX pedal is going to be. So it's going to be a no-brainer that you can literally custom make your own, or you can buy these premium ones. Like for example, I'm going to be putting a bunch up for sale of, I've got a Soldano SLO30, I've got a Matchless DC30 Samson era, I've got a 63 Bassman, a real one, a vintage one. These are amps that you're going to be able to have based on how good I make them. Hopefully I make them pretty decent, but you'll be able to take my amps and you can use them at any gig, anywhere, and not have to worry about any stage volume. And again, I can't overemphasize how just nice this is to not have to worry about programming things. Like once you set it up and make your amp capture, like you're done. And now it's just, this is my pedal board, and I mean, that's it. I could just plug my pedals right into this. So I'm actually right now just going into the AXIO, into the guitar input, and recording that in, but eventually that would be replaced with this ToneX pedal, which I assume would sound just like the AXIO would. So I really think this is going to be a great product for pretty much anybody, but I think particularly the users that have been kind of hesitant or reluctant to go with the digital modeling route. This is going to be something definitely you're going to want to check out. The pricing structure on this stuff is actually kind of insane. If you look at IK's website and you look at the pricing for these things, I mean, it's going to be super competitive. I think the rumored price for the pedal is going to be $399, and I believe that's going to come with the software, like the Max software. And there's so many great bundles that you could do. Like right now, even they have the Amplitube 5 and the AXIO bundle. I have an AXIO here that I use all the time. And you can actually get the AXIO, Amplitube 5, and the ToneX software all for like $450. Use the AXIO to make your captures instead of relying on the capture box that they also offer. I wanted to kind of showcase something that I made here. This right here is my Analog Outfitter Sarge. And this is a pretty rare amplifier because they're no longer in business. And Analog Outfitters actually makes these out of old Hammond organ parts, and they're repurposed into a really great sounding guitar amp. This is a great amp that two of my favorites, Derek Wells and Justin Ostrander out of Nashville, use this in almost all of their sessions. So I was really lucky enough to find one and grab one used last year. And I really like the way this amplifier sounds. So I wanted to make a ToneX copy of it so that I could just literally plug my board into that as if I were plugging into the real amp. So we're going to go through a couple of sounds here, and I have my real pedal board on the floor. And I'm going to show you my preset here. So this isn't a whole Amplitube preset. This is literally just my amp. I put it in this little Supro box because I guess it's just the most realistic looking, closest to the amp. And when you do these, you see all of the knobs should start off at 5. Interesting. Sometimes I don't know what happened from the standalone app into the DAW, but a couple of these settings are a touch bit different. So let's say that all the settings are at 5 here, right? That's how it should be when you download this. And if you're going to look for this, you see here it's SS Analog Sarge. And I hope you guys check this out. We're going through a Sir Badger cab, which is a Celestion G1265 speaker from the Two Notes. So that's from the Two Notes Torpedo Captor X. And just going through here, it's really cool. It separates the amp and the cabinet. And I didn't ask it to, so it automatically somehow separates your cabinet. As far as compression goes, I've got this on the post. So those are the settings there. We'll get to that when we start hearing it. And I've got a little bit of a plate reverb. And this EQ here, this EQ section is really flexible. You can dial in the exact frequency that you want. So if you just hover your mouse and click, you'll see you can adjust the frequency and the Q for your EQ. That's something that really comes in handy. A lot of these captures get a little bit harsh in the 4K area, so you could just dial that to 4K, bring out some of that treble if you really feel like that's something you want to do. And I didn't want to build this into an Amplitube 5 preset because you might not have Amplitube 5. You can even download the free version of this, which costs you nothing. If you have a decent interface at home, you could download the free version. And I'm pretty sure, please correct me if I'm wrong on this, I believe it says that you can get up to 20 downloaded ToneX models in the free version. So if you want to hear what I'm hearing and you want to just see what this is all about, you could download the free version and try out a bunch of these. And then there's different levels of pricing. I think there's a $50, there's a $150, and then there's the Max bundles, which is, if you're going to go Max, you might as well get the big bundles with the interface because that's a crazy good deal. So yeah, let's hear what this sounds like. I'm going to go direct monitoring so that you could hear exactly what I'm hearing. Right now, I have no pedals on. I'm just literally plugged into this as if it were my regular amp, and I just am ready to play regular setup. Something that I want to talk about is the compression on the post side here. So when you're using compression as like a post amp thing, you want just to like a little bit take the peaks off. And you have that really handy meter there, which really helps you see how much compression is actually on. So you could see. So you can see it's really just taken off the peaks, which is really cool. So yeah, I mean, this is what my amp sounds like. And it's a great pedal platform. So if I kick on my old Nobels ODR1, I mean, it's killer. I also got a Prince of Tone on here with the, I got the gain up a little bit and just another pedal. I'm gonna hit a little bit of a tremolo on. Let's hit a little bit of a modulated delay on here now. Let's say I want to hit this with a little bit of a solo boost type of sound. And I could just get carried away playing through my real pedals, but I wanted to show you that like this is something you could take to like a real legit recording session or a gig, and you could just plug your pedal board into it. And I think that's about it. I mean, you heard what the amp sounds like. You can download this and check it out. So just download the amp. You can give it a thumbs up thingy, or you could leave a comment below what you think of this amp. And yeah, it's on the ToneNet. You just have to go on ToneNet. You could search for my name. It's called SS Analog Sarge, as you saw on the screen here. And yeah, let me know what you think of it. Try it out. Even if you download the free one, you could still try this out. And yeah, let me know what you think about ToneX and if you think that this is the direction that everybody should start heading to. And yeah, if you made it this far into the video, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.